Today we're repurposing a beam from a construction site and turning it into a coffee table.
We'll walk you through the steps as we apply Mirror Coat, a durable, self-leveling epoxy. I'm Kirsten Dunn.
And I'm Todd Dermody.
And this is Done DIY.
You can easily do this project in 1 or 2 hours, spread over a couple days. You'll need a dust-free environment and time for the 2 coats to dry.
Be sure to check out our blog post for the full tutorial. If you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the description. Now let's get started.
We've always wanted to do a bar top finish on a project, and this scrap of glulam beam turned out to be the perfect opportunity. The epoxy finish turned out great, and it was easier to apply than we thought. Begin by spreading out a drop cloth in your work area and placing the beam on top of it. To ensure our beam was free of dust, we wiped it down with denatured alcohol and a lint-free rag. Because Mirror Coat is a pourable, self-leveling epoxy, your beam needs to be level too. Elevate the tabletop so that the sides are fully exposed and, using a level, shim as necessary. We used plastic tapered shims, but you can use folded paper in a pinch. With your tools and materials laid out, check the clock. Once mixed, Mirror Coat allows 30 minutes of work time. That will be plenty, and you won't need to rush if you have everything ready. Your first coat will be a thin seal coat that will seal up the surface of the beam. Mix up enough Mirror Coat to cover the table with 1/2 ounce per square foot. Make sure to mix in a disposable measuring tub that is labeled with gradient marks. Pour part A in first, and then add part B, following the 2-to-1 ratio stated in the instructions. When the 2 parts come together, they will likely be a little milky. Don't worry, this goes away with brief but vigorous stirring. Stir well for about 30 seconds. Once the mixture has been stirred, pour it onto the top of the table and immediately spread it out with a 1/8 inch nap roller. The goal here is to have a very thin coating, and the roller will help you achieve that. Use a paintbrush to spread the coating out to the edges and down the sides. You'll also want to wipe any drips at the bottom of each side to avoid having to sand them later when they've hardened. And with that, the first coat is complete. Let your table sit for 4 to 6 hours or overnight. Once your table has cured, it's time to apply the second coat. This coat should be enough to cover the table with 4 ounces per square foot. Just like before, figure out the amount you need and pour part A into a mixing tub, followed by part B in the same 2-to-1 ratio. Stir well until the milkiness is gone. Now, pour the mixed epoxy onto the top of the table. Spread the coating out gently toward the edges of the table and allow it to run down the sides. For this coat, you'll want to use a brush instead of a roller. The brush will help you move the epoxy across the table surface and blend the drips on the sides into a uniform thickness. After adding the second coat, you may start to notice some bubbles in the epoxy. This is totally normal and can be easily remedied with a portable blowtorch. Hold the blowtorch 6 to 8 inches from the surface and wave it over the bubbles until they pop. Make sure to keep the flame moving so you don't burn the epoxy. Now that the second coat is complete, let your table cure for 5 days. The last step is to install legs on your table. We used clear coat, 1/2 inch diameter legs from our friends at DIY Hairpin Legs. Use the screws provided in the kit and secure the legs to the bottom of the table with a drill. That's it! Your table is now ready to use and will look great just about anywhere. We hope you enjoy your new table, and we'll see you next time on Done DIY.